All right, it won't take much of our time, but this is a webinar organized by Evolve Connect. The aim of the webinar is to see how we can actually use how CoPilot is actually redefining, collaborations and communications. You need to be updated, with wave of technology. What difference is it going to be making, for the business owners? It's a product-led conversation, so we want to see how the product, is going to be changing things in the space of you need to know more about its features, how it's going to be changing things. Today, I have two of my colleagues, are proud members of Geek freelance community. Let me just go straight introducing myself. My name is Martin Oluwatosin Lesami. I'm a graduate of computer engineering, Ladoke Akina University of Technology. I also have MBA, University of Bedfordshire, United Kingdom. Currently, I'm program operation manager. It's a privilege, to be here organizing this event through Evolve Connect. And I'll leave the space for my colleague to introduce himself. Shidi, you want to go first?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Martin. We are really, really happy, for the growth that you are having and then the impact you're making in Africa. My name is Ihijirika Chidebere. I'm an SME in Teams specifically, where I've been able to work with Microsoft Teams in the past 4 years. Thank you.
Thanks for the short introduction, Shidi. Yeah, kudos to Tech Expert Nigeria. We are product of Tech Expert Nigeria, and I'm very proud to say this anytime. If they are hearing this, I think they should be proud that some of their products are actually doing well in the tech space. So Taiwo Lawa, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. My name is Taiwo Lawa. I'm the quiet one. I'm also a computer engineering graduate from Ekiti State University. I've had experience in computing and also in IT world for a while now. I'll be one of those guest speaker in this redefining collaboration and communication with Teams Pilot, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you.
Why are we here, right? As I've said previously, is to talk more about how CoPilot being launched, how this feature, CoPilot, is going to be redefining collaborations and communications in Microsoft Teams here. What is CoPilot, and how does this actually, and how do you think this actually differ from the traditional collaborations tools that we used to have?
Yeah, okay, yes. Thank you for that question. It's an interesting one, right? Because long before now, we've had some trends in communications. We've seen the trend where Microsoft, evolved from Link, from instant messaging, from Link to Skype for Business, from Skype for Business, and now we have Teams. And then with Teams, we saw it as it's a unified communication that is going to, allow everybody in the space of technology to collaborate, to also be able to reach out, and then of course be able to reach out in terms of project, in terms of communication as well. Now Microsoft now thought, I believe, in a way to redefine some of this collaboration, thereby bringing Copilot, right? They thought that there should be an intelligent opportunity for users who are able to collaborate with other users, for users who are able to reach out to customers, for users who are able to interact with individuals, and then of course colleagues as well, right? With that thought in mind, it enhances what has been existing in terms of how collaboration is being engaged, in terms of how communication is being engaged. If you look at the space of Link, right, there are some sort of short measures or limitations that were in place in terms of those products, right? But now Microsoft Teams came into play, redefined collaboration, redefined communication, right? And so much more. Now I can tell you that Microsoft Copilot coming into play, Microsoft Teams becomes the first unified communication as a service solution, right, to bring about artificial intelligence into communications, into collaboration, right? Now you are going to be seeing how Copilot gives you that confined space in terms of communication and collaboration within Microsoft Teams.
All right, thanks, Chidi. So if I get it very well, we're talking about the intelligent opportunity that this brings to, the traditional way of collaborations, and let's talk about the service solutions, integrations to communication. That's perfect. Lawa, did you have additional things to that, or maybe looking at it from another angle, or do you think, the integration of the Copilot to the Microsoft Teams, brings something different from the traditional collaboration tools that we used to have?
Definitely. So, yeah, I'm sure everyone is joining with Teams. Yeah, we could see that, we could chat, and so this is the conventional modality we know about Teams, right? We calls, make PSTN calls, make voice over IP, like you calling a SIP address, and you can interact, having video calls and the likes. Yeah, so this is traditional Teams, right? But now, when it comes to Teams Copilot, we are talking about bringing the AI, bringing intelligence, like you said, into Teams. Now, take for an instance, right? You are in a meeting, right? And you keep taking notes. Although we in conventional Teams or in the traditional Teams, we have transcriptions, right? Meeting transcription. We all know that.
Yeah.
We have notes, meeting notes, right?
Yeah.
And we also have
But yeah,
recap,
you have to do
right?
it manually, yeah?
Yeah, you have to do it manually. And also, to be honest with you, Microsoft Teams is very intelligent. Don't take that from it. Don't add Copilot to it and say now it's now intelligent. No, Teams had always been intelligent, because with the adventure of Teams Premium, we all see that brought a new feature into Teams, advanced meeting features. For example, the recap, like I said, the recap is something that when you miss a meeting, you come into the meeting and you get what you've missed, right? Now, but with the introduction of Copilot, what you see here is that during a meeting, during a chat, you're chatting with someone, right? Or you are having a phone conversation with someone. You can easily do what? You can easily get insight with Copilot, and with that, you get a written summary. Someone getting an assistant, a virtual assistant. That's the right word. A virtual assistant taking summary of the notes, the meetings for you, identifying some points, right? Some pointers. It is very difficult for you to go back to a meeting recording, because we see in conventional, we take meeting recording, we start listening to recordings,
Yeah.
and if we miss it. But with this, you do what? You get summary of this of the meeting conversations. And with that, you become very productive. Very productive. You can just send the follow-up emails, right? Even with that, coming back to recap. Now, like I said, there's recap in the traditional Teams. Although we talk about licenses, we're going to get there later, but there are recap in traditional Teams. But take, for example, you miss something within the meeting. You use your Copilot, you can get traction on that. You missed something after the meeting. With Copilot, you can get traction on that. So believe me when I say Copilot, not in just Teams, not just in Teams, in all Microsoft 365 apps, Excel, PowerPoint. I believe most of us will have seen the Copilot in the browsers now, Edge browsers, right? I think Microsoft is doing so well to introduce this to the major crowd, so that they can have a look and feel of this. Like you said in the past, this is something that is just is not available to the crowd yet, but I believe most of us will start seeing some good view of this in the next coming months.
Because I think the audience needs to know about what are the key features. Now we're talking about redefined collaborations and communications with Teams Copilot, which is we are focusing more on Microsoft Teams here. And when you look at Teams of today, Teams is like the central ops, where everything is connected. Today you can integrate your Teams to OneDrive, SharePoint, Outlook. You can actually, the modern workspace of nowadays is that you can have the Teams at the middle, and you don't need to be opening other applications. You're actually working within the Teams. You are collaborating, you are co-authoring, everything within the Teams. Yeah. So what are those features that this Copilot is actually bringing on board? Can you describe some of the key features we should be looking after in when Copilot is globally launched? And what are the functionality of these, key features of Copilot in Teams? I'm not saying general Copilot here in Teams, and how do you think this is going to make it to stand out in the market? We're talking about market here. We're not just talking about from the support perspective. You're talking about how is it going to redefine the business, collaborations. Then let's look into the business communication and collaborations.
So when we talk about the features in the Teams Copilot features in Teams, so we're looking at 3 features that are coming into Teams. We are looking at the Copilot in chat. We are looking at Copilot in meetings, and we're also looking at Copilot in phone, in Teams phone. Now, for example, I'm going to share my screen if you allow me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a demo video of Copilot in Teams. Now you can see that they have a conversation, right? And in this conversation, you see that we have a user who comes in, click on the Copilot icon here at the right side. And what he did was that he's trying to catch up, right? The essence of CoPilot is you want to be on top of your game, right? CoPilot comes in Teams chat, comes in Teams phone, and also comes in meeting. And you'll be wowed on how this operates because you need to have a look and feel of this. So for example, now I'm going to play this demo again. Now, if you look at this demo quite all right, you see the user clicking on the CoPilot icon. And this is how the flow is, right? Because what you see is that you are going to type in the question, right? And when you type in the question, what it does is that it's going to give you some insights, and these insights are AI generated, right? With Copilot, you can quickly synthesize key information from chat trend, right? Allowing you to ask specific questions, right? And with this, you can get suggestion prompts, which helps reduce the effort of you summarizing, going through a lot of chat, right? But imagine you using the Teams to converse and outline a new social media campaign, right? And imagine you develop products and apps. Let's use that word. And you're working from home remotely, and we have a lot of users working in different locations, right? Different time zone. What happens, right? Maybe you're in Nigeria, and you have someone in the US, and you have your own time shift, and they had a meeting, and in the meeting they have collaborated in the chat. I'm going to use a chat here in this scenario. They have collaborated in the chat, and you need to start going through a lot of chat conversations. Now look at what Teams Pilot comes in or brings into play. Now, instead of you scrolling up, right, with Copilot, you can use it to easily summarize the key points of what you need to talk about. Now, in Teams Phone, similarly, we have voice IP and we have the conventional PSTN calls. These also come in play here. Regardless of you calling calling a SIP address or calling a phone number, a marketer, you called your client and you are discussing digit, you're discussing some products, and instead of you concentrating on the call that you are or the message you are trying to deliver, you're taking notes. Hey, hold on, let me get this down. No, with Copilot, you are already being assisted. You have that virtual assistant, that intelligent agent at the back end there, taking note of this. And after everything, it takes an insight of your information. And the insight is something that you yourself can easily follow up on. You can, with that summary, you can ask, okay, we discussed about this. I just want to, I want to check if this has been trashed out or this has been discussed and the likes. From there, you can identify some other gray areas that your client needs to know. And after that, instead of you getting off the call and start reading up the meetings or the call recording and the likes, you already have something to provide feedback on, right? Increasing productivity, reducing time. With this, you can get into a lot of clients. You can have a conversation with a lot of clients. So I see this Copilot as a very good feature in Microsoft at large and in Microsoft Teams, and it's going to be used by a lot of businesses. Name it. We have the business analysts, we have the marketers, we have the product developers, we have conventional organizations that have meeting regularly to improve their business strategies, to improve their products and the like. So this is going to be a very important features in for the business.
Taiwo, thank you so much for that, right? Generally, right, Copilot, like we already mentioned, it's going to be like an intelligent friend, if I should use the word, right? But now I'm going to, bring it closely to the business part, right? Like when you talk about businesses in this case, I know in businesses we have project management, we have sales and marketing, we have customer relationship, and then and the rest of them, right? Now, in all of these things, the business is focusing on how to make a pitch, right, to sell a product for the marketing team, for the sales team, right? Now imagine a situation where you as a marketing team member, you've done a pitch on a product you want to sell to a customer, right? And then on that particular meeting, which is a team's meeting, the customer is talking and you are talking as well, right? Now at the same time, you are trying to make a pitch to the customer to be able to understand the product you are selling, right? The same time, the customer is asking a question. Customer wants to know more. The customer wants to identify the gray areas of the product. The customer wants to identify the limitation of the product. Customer wants to understand the features of the product. What does it do and what does it not do, right? Now, at the same time, now you are focusing on your pitch, and at the same time, you also need to itemize what the customer has said. You also need to itemize what the client has said, right? What CoPilot brings for you is a situation where you are able to focus on your pitch and allow this intelligent friend to itemize some of these things that the customer should be asking, right? Keep tracks of each of these discussions that you've had with customers, be able to meet deadlines, right? So you're able to, summarize the conversation that you have had with the customer, right? Then you are also able to use that summary probably through an email. You need to get back to the customer to say, we've discussed this, we've discussed that. You send this email to the customer is wowed because he sees, or he or she sees, that you've not missed an inch of the conversation that you have had. You've not missed an inch of the question that he or she has asked, right? In that case, you are already close to closing the deal, right? That is in project management, that is in sales, right? You're able to improve customer interactions, you're able to access information as quickly as possible, also in largely to for knowledge sharing as well. That's what Copilot does for you in Teams, chats, meetings, and calls.
So the question as regards that is that what are the security measures or compliance features in place to actually protect sensitive business data?
Thank you for that question. That's a very important question because, in the world we have today, everybody's being careful about is our information and how they are being used. Now,
Yeah.
Microsoft, right, take this very seriously, and any other platform, right, or any other businesses, they take their information very serious. And Microsoft had always been so particular about PII, data protection, and the general data protection rules, that's the GDPR. The way Microsoft applications operate, it uses information. And the same thing in Copilot, because if you look at the architecture of Copilot, we have you as a user. From the user end, you have a user prompt to ask a question. We have a graph at the back end. The graph, what the graph does is it takes the question you've asked, taken to the data model, which is the AI, which is being processed, and the intelligence come in play. Now, for every data communication or data transaction or transition, there is still compliance, the same compliance that is in Microsoft. Your security, your compliance, and privacy, everything is kept intact.
Thank you, Taiwo. So, yeah, so what I want to add to that is, just to answer a particular question Martins asked was, how do a customer feel when you have to, send a chat to Copilot, which gives you the summary of what you've done, right? But I have to say this now: when you look at the chat that Copilot has, right, it differs from the traditional chat that you're having inside your meetings, right? It does not populate that concrete or that summary or that table that specific question you're asking. It does not create it in the in-meeting chat. Say, for example, you're having a channel chat or you're having a meeting chat. It doesn't populate that responses in the in-meeting chat. It doesn't populate that responses in the in the meet or the channel chat, right? It gives you that preferences or those answers on your Copilot icon, right? So people who are in that meeting are not able to see whatever is happening, right? When the AI now gathers those information, and then it comes to the part of asking questions or asking the AI questions. The questions are not thrown to the general chat where everybody in the meeting sees it. It's only thrown to that specific person who asked that question and gives you answer to what you've asked. And so what the graph does is, you ask a question, it fetches those questions based on the permission that it has, and then presents you with those answers, right? So exactly what is going to happen in Copilot as well. The graph, the question comes in, the graph processes the question, fetches the information from the from where it is based, of course, which we also know that Microsoft Teams houses its own information as well.
So the next question we're going to talk about is, how can business get started with Copilot? What are the steps? Is it readily available in the market? How can they
Okay.
ensure successful, implementations?
Okay. From November, right, November 1st, it will become generally available for the entire organization, right, for the entire crowd, tenants in the world. So, and to prepare for this, the organization needs the E5 licenses, the E3 license, and the business premium and business standard as a base license. Then you can now get the Copilot license, which is around $30 USD, and with this you can start using the Copilot features in Teams, in the whole Microsoft 365 product. And there are also some technical what's it called now, requirements, right, that is needed and ensured, because you see, Microsoft make use of a lot of data traffics, and you need to check in with your network team to ensure that you have met with the network requirement, the IP URLs, and allowed it through your firewalls and the likes, right? So it's going to be a very easy transition or deployment, because what you just need is a license. Microsoft always made these kind of things easy when it comes to add-on feature. What you need is just a license, and ensure that your traffic, your organization traffic, allows this.
Okay, I think that's a great one. It's starting globally, rollout November 1st, and if I'm not mistaken, some customers, from customers need. As I've started using it, I think there's some people that are testing it out at the moment here. What from the support angle? What are the possible? Because I know most of the support engineers are on this course, and deployment engineers in the world. So, what would be your advice in the situation that it's been rolled out, customer get this license, they're very excited about this license, and it's not been showing up, and how could they support?
Okay, I would just like to go with that first. The first thing you should always have in mind when it comes to new product releases, has it gotten to my tenant yet? Because we have a lot of rings, right? In for tenants, we have tenant ring 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 3.5. Now, general availability, everyone is in ring 4, right? And even as Microsoft has mentioned that it's going to get to the general availability from November 1st. That doesn't mean on November 1st you wake up in the morning, you get it, because I bet you're going to get a lot of support requests from AUE, that's United Arabs, Indians, and also from UK, because they are very inquisitive, very curious. They log in the morning, oh, we got this message, I've not seen it. I've gotten the license, I want to get the license. The first thing is, has it gotten to the license yet? You need to explain to the customer that this rule is still rolling out, and it has not, it is still rolling out, and it will get to tenants bit by bit, because this is a cloud, right? Now, again, I believe most of the organization has started using Microsoft Teams, new Microsoft Teams. And if you're on the new Microsoft Teams, you are on the preview set, right? You're on the preview set, and if you have the right license, this is going to give you an edge. So one thing is, they need to be patient, right? They need to be patient. They need to ensure that they are properly licensed, and they need to understand that November is a is for the rolling out, and it might get to them. And the best thing you should always say is, towards the end of the month, everybody would have rolled out. Now, for support engineer, always check the roadmap. If the thing still says rolling out, you have an edge over the customer. The moment it says launched and the customer has not gotten it yet, that is when you should be worried. But the moment it still says rolling out, don't be scared. Let the customer know that this is still being rolling by it's still rolled out bit by bit, and he just needs to ensure that he is in the right channel and also licensed, and it will get to him. Thank you.
How do we provide support to customers? Would there be separate training on this? I think this is going to lead to our next questions here. In your own opinion, right, what support or training resources do you think is available at the moment for the businesses?
Yeah, okay. So in terms of support, I think basically your the question is tweeting towards support, right? Because when you talk about end users will definitely there are various videos out there, in terms of how they could ask questions, in terms of how they could address their questions to the co-pilot and get answers, right? But in terms of support, which I believe the issue is going to come from, right? One of the things that you will need to understand or have an idea to is Microsoft Graph, right? Because when you talk about Microsoft Graph now, that is basically where the information is being fetched from, right? Now, your understanding of Microsoft Graph has a lot to play on how to support customer, because that is where you have permissions. That's where you have the permissions that should fetch those informations from different sources where those information are residing, right?
All right, thanks, Chidi. Lawa, any additions to that?
Yeah, so to add to what Chidi has said, in the public you have an article for technical requirements for the co-pilot in Teams, and to add to that, if you need support and you're supporting the line of Microsoft line of business, there are usually technical, other internal technical support articles, which are at the moment we have probably the update and with the rollout, because when you start getting the rollout, we have a dedicated teams. Microsoft usually have program managers and dedicated technical support escalation engineers to that realm to look into the possible challenges, and with that they're going to set up some articles which is also going to be available to the technical support in their workspace, right? So you need nothing to worry about when it comes to supporting this CoPilot, because it's very easy to set up from what we've seen so far. Very easy to set forward, straightforward. And so that's as far as I can go on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we don't want to keep much of our time, you guys, and you've been awesome. You've been awesome, in trying to address, give us like a tips of what we should expect about Copilot. And to this, we've talked more about what is the Copilot, what are the key features, how would Copilot align with the broader digital transformations for modern businesses. We look into the security aspect of it, which I think is very key. And I think it's very, very, very important for the support engineers to know about this, because most customers will be getting, their concern will be how secure are my data. So I don't want my data to be transformed by artificial intelligence. All these things are very, very important. You need to be very smart enough, especially for those supporting proactive business here. You be very smart enough to know what you're talking about. Trust me, there might be no dedicated training as by Copilot. That is why we are putting up this kind of webinar. But of course, that is not an excuse for anybody to actually fail on his, doing his own job. So I would encourage, right? We need to keep reading more about Copilot, keep, doing some, integrations ourselves, doing some like, putting up some test environment to actually feel these things, how it's been work, and how this actually affects, business entirety, because we've come to the end of today's webinar. And deeply, I want to say thank you to Chidi, and thanks to Lawa for accepting to be on this call today to come and, share their knowledge. You can see they are great guys, subject matter experts. They know what they are doing, and they've been able to convincingly, make it clear that Copilot, it's totally different from the traditional collaboration tools. And it's actually going to be redefining the collaborations and communications of the new modern businesses. And so everybody should be, aware of, what is ahead of us. I want to use this opportunity to actually invite everyone to one of other events that Evolve Connect will be doing lately this December, which is Tech in the Slum for people. Of course, not it's happening in Lagos, Makoko slum. More details will be, made available. And the ideology of that is that we are taking the technology to the slum. It is corporate social responsibility project where we're going to the slum to actually, identify talent, transform them by exposing them to, technology. And of course, we're going to be supporting them. We've been getting some, I think I want to use this privilege to say, shout out to the Microsoft Amplify Geek Plus community. We've been getting some fundings to actually help us achieve our aims and get them ready to start supporting Microsoft solutions. What would this do for them? Imagine imparting a life in a slum, imparting a life in a family. It might transform the whole life in that family. We're not just stopping there too, right? We're going there to have engagement with children, with the age, with the family people there, to see how what we can contribute to actually make the festive period, memorable. So which means that when it's been launched, you have the avenue to actually donate. We're not even asking for money here, but you have avenue to actually donate material things so we can get carried down to the slum just to give to these people. And if it is a used clothes that is still very clean, and we hope that we can actually impart life. So these are also part of the things that Evolve Connect is doing. You can also join us. I know there are a lot of 1,000 plus members of our community in Telegram. I just want to say to everyone, try to, I think now we have a taste of how it looks like, and I want to believe it's very, very impactful. Hopefully we can see more people in the next webinar. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Shidi, and thanks, Lawa. Thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye. Getting your first gig is the easiest thing. You're going to get it. What every recruiter wants is, do you have the right mindset? It's not do you have the skills. You can develop the skills.